guides and also just to be able to stand out, right? Like it could be, man, I really like working for sale by owners. I'd love to have a for sale by owner checklist. Or it could be that you even just want, this works even for stuff that doesn't necessarily have to be even a lead magnet. It could be something that you give to clients you already work with. Maybe it's a listing ready checklist, right? Maybe it's a buyer guide, and you only give it to people you're already working with, right? So drop in the chat if you've just always felt like, man, I just wish I had a checklist, a guide. Maybe it's multiple things that you've always wanted. One for this and one for that and one for this. Drop a yes in the chat if that's you. It's me, by the way. I love having like guides and checklists. I'm one of those people. I am absolutely one of those people to where I have to reel back and be careful not to spend too much time. It's like Nick and I were just talking a minute ago about like you have to have a clear focus on whatever you do, or else you will get lost in opportunity.
Mhm.
Again, a bunch of yeses. Good. Then this definitely join the right Zoom today, then. And you're gonna have a blast. And the good news is for all of you, you don't have to work as hard as I did when I was making guides. You will get to do this so much easier. I'm jealous because I had to work so hard to make what I have made with the guides and the checklists and everything like that. And you guys will be able to do it in the tiniest of a fraction of a time. And that's excited for you. About another minute, people are still coming in. And again, if that's you, drop yes in the chat if you're getting here. I'm just asking who has always wanted to make a guide or a checklist. All right, one more minute. You know how it is with Zoom. Nick, what is one of the guides that you've made that you've liked the most, like you're proudest of? Because I know you've made lots of little ones here and there, whether it's for clients,
Hmm.
examples. I mean, I've made
Yeah, I
examples and I'm
mean,
like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
personally, I think the zip code focused ones are really cool. Just because, I mean, you can make a bunch of them. They're all unique. I like these kind of things. I always think of as like what's gonna catch somebody's attention the easiest. I mean, obviously you want to be helpful for them, and there's sort of multiple considerations. But I like the zip code focused stuff. So I feel
I
like
think
you know what your zip code is, right? So if you see something for your zip code, it just sort of immediately clicks for you.
I think that's really awesome, and that's something when we did our call initially, where we just briefly touched on this, was a great reminder to me that you can get specific and you can really get in there. And some part of I think a lot of us we try to hit everybody. We try to make a universal buyer guide that everybody gets, as if all buyers are even remotely the same. The truth is they're not. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't have similar initial steps or similar qualities or characteristics, sure, but the truth is that like they have their market specific needs, zip code, like you said. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
neighborhood, and then the type of person they are, the type of job they have, the family dynamics. I mean, there's so many things. Oh, it's 5 after. Let's get this going. All right, guys. So welcome. So glad you're here. Um, so this call is for all the agents who maybe want to offer value in written or digital format, but you don't even know where to start. You don't even know how to compile and put together the value that you bring, the insight, the tools, the resources, right? Or maybe you want to show that you're an expert in a particular area. Like, I'm really good at this thing. Or maybe I really know my local market. Or I even know agents who are like, I dominate my neighborhood. This neighborhood is my neighborhood and I know it. Right. And so you just want to be able to effectively convey that to others. Okay. Or perhaps, okay, this is where mine came from, by the way, was you want to stand out among all the other agents talking to the same exact leads. That was a big one for me. Is just having a resource that helped me to really stand out. Okay. Now, listen, 4 commitments for being on the call today. Number one is video on unless you're doing something safe. I heard someone say a hot mess. Listen, hot messes, we are all in this together. Do not shy away from that. By the way, the more that you're willing to be uncomfortable, the more confident you will be in any and all scenarios, right? So, Bonnie, get out of here with that mess. We want your hot mess as long as you're appropriately clothed. All right. And Kathleen laughing. All right, distractions off, guys. You did not show up today. You're way too smart. You did not show up today just to be distracted. That will, that's just crazy. You're too smart, right? Imagine you're sitting across from a client and all they're doing is staring at their phone. Imagine they take a phone call in the middle of your listing appointment. What would you be thinking? You'd be like, listen, I get you have phone calls, but why are we doing this now? Why are we doing this now? We both committed to be here. This wasn't a surprise, right? I didn't pull you guys in from whatever you were doing. You said, get in this Zoom. You said, register, click, join. You got in here. So do it to yourself. Don't be distracted. Participate. We're going to be asking questions and engaging, and I want you to get the most out of this. This is awesome. This is what winners do. Okay. This is how they get in and win. And then one of the most important ones is just go make someone else's day. Share something you learned today. Go bless someone like Nick and I are blessing you here. And Nick's actually going to be coming for the next 2 weeks after this one to share some additional awesome things. So, like, we got to be extra awesome to Nick for just all that he's given us. Okay. So, quick question again, but this one's a little bit different. Do you think having a highly relevant and valuable lead magnet, and remember, a lead magnet is literally anything that makes people want to talk to you, right? It could be a guidebook, it could be a checklist. A lead magnet could even be you've got tickets and you're running a giveaway and they've got to do X, Y, and Z to be entered in. A lead magnet is anything that draws your leads to you. So, do you think having highly relevant and valuable lead magnets would increase your conversion rate? Drop yes in the chat or no. Yes, if you think it will help your conversion rate, or no. There we go. Lots of yeses. That is the right answer, just to be clear. There was a right or wrong answer. Okay, so now that you've all said yes, you know this is worth your time because this is exactly what we're going to address right here and now. Okay? And let me kind of give you the moment that maybe you can relate to, or similar moments where you've spent maybe hours replying to posts and threads, offering advice, answering questions, only to see literally your comments just disappear in a sea of dozens, and really, let's be honest, hundreds of other responses. You invest all that time trying to be helpful, but no one ever reaches out to you or even remembers you. And then you kind of sit there and go, man, something's not right here. I'm doing all this work. I'm being helpful. I'm making the comments, and it's just not clicking. Right? It's that extra step that you need, right? That extra thing that pushes them over the edge. That's today. That's today. So remember, say it with me, guys. Things need to change. Things need to change. And they will. And it starts with simple. These are simple, just to be clear. Very simple. The game has changed. It's actually gotten easier, believe it or not. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You'll have to work harder in the sense of more diligence and more discipline, but the actual execution of what we're teaching you today is easier than ever, right? And just to give you a little bit of the science behind what we're talking about, the data, personalized offers like a hyper local lead magnet. Again, we're going to get into more details exactly what this means. They convert 202% better than just generic ones. Some of you might be like, well, my brokerage has a buyer's guide. I just use it. They just give it to everybody in the office, right? I was at Parks Realty, great brokerage, by the way, no insult, but I was at Parks Realty. They had these cool buyer guides. Everybody got them, right? But this will convert literally 202% better, right? When we get specific, 81% of sellers contact and talk to only one agent. You guys hearing that? One agent before hiring. And so a good lead magnet helps you be the first conversation they have. That resonate with you? You guys taking that in? You understand the goal now of what we're really trying to do here? Convert better, get the conversations faster, be first in line if at all possible. That's what we're trying to get you to. Okay. And then the best news of all, guys, I have done this and it took an unbelievable amount of time, hours and hours and hours, and so much design and so much research and so much effort. And now you guys get to do it and it will take you about 10 to 15 minutes. And you know, let's be honest, maybe you kind of are really, really new at this and you're a little technically challenged. It might take you 30 minutes, but it took me so many hours. And the big message before we jump into step one is just remember that it's not about overwhelming them with information because that leads to indecision. That actually works against you. A lot of times we believe that the more we throw at people, data, right? Market reports, right? And then just talking, forever explaining something, that's what gets them. That's what convinces them. All of the research shows the exact opposite happens. They actually lose trust because they become overwhelmed. And you're the person who made them overwhelmed. So this is about a focused resource that shows you understand their exact situation and the choice in front of them. Okay? You guys feeling that? You getting this? Give me some head nods if you're awake and you're ready for this. There we go. There we go. All right, so let's get into step one, and then we're going to go over it briefly, and then Nick's going to we're going to expand on it with Nick here, okay? So the step one is really just to identify your ideal client, okay? We don't do generic here. No more generic. That's out. We have AI now. We get to be hyper specific about everything. It's too easy not to be. Would you agree, Nick? It's too easy not to be in a
Oh
niche
yeah,
now. It's too easy not
right.
to be.
It's if it's that straightforward, somebody's gonna do it, right?
Yeah, man. All right. And so, guys, when we get into the step one, I want you to think about this for a second. What's one ideal client you want to attract to you? Who do you want to work with? And I don't want you to do something that you just impulsively say, right? Oh, first time home buyers. Everybody says that. I think it's because it's low hanging fruit. But who do you actually want to work with? Get specific. Maybe, right? I don't know if Maggie's here, but Maggie's like, I remember talking to her and she was like, man, I just want to dominate my neighborhood. I want to work with my neighbors. You see how specific that is? Now imagine the type of plan we can build around knowing, oh my gosh, okay, literally these 100 to 200 houses around her, that's where she wants to dominate. Doesn't mean she won't do other things, right? So I want you to get specific. All right, so I'm seeing some good starts to this, dropping them in the chat. I like this. I'm seeing veterans, military veterans. Nick, should we tell them to take it a little bit further? Where they
Yeah,
are?
yeah, I'm a big fan of getting as specific as you can. You can always pull back, obviously, but yeah, I think, the more you can sort of describe that person, what they're interested in, what their pain points are, if they have kids, how many, where they spend their time, like all that stuff is useful for sure.
Right, right. Because here's the thing. I love that you guys are saying military veterans, but let's be real here. Aren't military veterans still a very diverse group of people? Different religious, racial, family dynamics and backgrounds, skill sets, aspirations and goals. There are veterans who are like, now I'm going to school. Now I'm getting a new job. Now I'm moving closer to family. There are ones that are trying to find their place in life. There's so much diversity there. So you're going to want to, and we're helping you, but you're going to want to get more and more specific. Where are they living? What are they doing? Where are they going? These are the things that we need because this is when we can get those specifics, it's those things that go off like the bat signal. Okay. When the bat signal is up in the sky, does anybody but Batman think that they're being called? No. The local police officers are like, bat signal's up. Is that us? Is that me? Nick, is that you? No, they're like, oh, Batman. They're calling in Batman. It's so crystal clear. Nobody has to second guess that you're going after them. You're calling them. You guys follow me? You get starting to see that? I just made up the Batman scenario in my head, so
I
I'm
like
pretty
that.
proud of
It's a
that.
good one.
I
I'm gonna have
know,
to steal
right?
that.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking too. I was like, that's solid. Everybody knows Batman and everybody knows the bat signal. This
Yeah,
works,
yeah.
right? So now that's what I want you to get specific on. We're not going to spend too much time on this because we're going to give you more time to do this later. But I want you to just start thinking in the back of your head, who are they, right? What are they trying to accomplish? What are they trying to do? And the best part is AI, us and AI will help you do this. And it's so much easier. It's so much easier now, right? All right. Um, and so then from there, you're going to pick a big problem that you're solving. And Nick, can you give some examples of, because step two is where we get into generating the content. So do you want to give any examples about maybe some exact types of audiences you've helped agents to figure out, right? Like exact
Yeah, sure.
scenarios.
Well, I think the big thing to think about is always, what are the things that are going to be, trigger the most frustration, right? Or like, what are the parts that are going to create confusion? So, for example, maybe you want to create something that's for, parents with young children. Like I have a young child, so this one just sort of resonates with me all the time. And there's just so many things in my life that are so different now than before we had a kid. So there's sort of clear, obvious opportunities there, like just so many different ideas in terms of how to plan for the next 5 years, like what kind of features to look for in a home if you have young children that are going to grow up in that property, so like that is very specific, right? And I think that's kind of the ideal here. We're past the point where the generic stuff is all that useful, right? Like that's what you always have been talking about. So I think thinking in on, what are the pain points, what are the things that they're frustrated with. I think another aspect is you want to make sure you're helping them with problems that they typically have before they're in the transaction, right? So like when they're in the planning phase, when they're in the kind of daydreaming, sort of thinking of that ideal property or, struggling with like, okay, I know I need to sell the house, but like how fast can we get there? That's all the kind of stuff you want to really focus in on because that's the sort of thing that if I were to see that guide, hey, for parents with kids under 5, here's how to plan what next house to purchase, right? If I have kids under 5, that is standing out to me, and that's what you're really going for. So I think that's what you want to focus in on, right? Is what are the trigger points? What are the things they're struggling with, the points of frustration? The reason, the big one is like what's a reason somebody would delay, right? Like why would somebody
Mm,
look at purchasing or selling right now and then say, "No, I don't think I can do this for the next 6 months," right? Like what are the reasons they might be thinking about there? And if you can combine that pain point with something specific to them, that's when you're in the gold, I think, right? So I think that's what you want to think about when we first get started.
I love you said this too, because what you just said there, the delay is really big. So, a question for everybody. Who here knows that typically during the holidays, the markets often, not for everyone, slow down, right? Can we all agree that I'm not saying it has to be individually for you. I'm saying universally, statistically, markets tend to slow down for holidays. We all kind of know why. Family coming into town. They just went back to school. For many people, it's getting colder. And by the way, if you don't know this, psychologically, cold makes people do less. It makes them stay indoors more. It makes them more closed off. It makes them less likely to literally physically go out and do things, right? Um, that's why summers tend to be busier times. Heat actually draws people out. I know, it's crazy, right? So listen, the reason why I'm saying this is that do you guys want your winter and end of the quarter to be slow at the end of the year, or do you want it to be busy still, making money? Do you want to be making money at the end of the year? Or do you only want to make money, maybe around New Year's and maybe a little bit in the summer and spring? Or would you like to be making money all year around? Of course, you want to be making money all year around. Let me tell you, Thanksgiving feels really great when you had 3 closings the week prior. right? It feels good. It really does. Addressing the delays that your specific target audience, right? Like Nick was saying, was like, okay, sure, busy parents. Well, holidays, there's a lot of delays with people with holidays. So you could even say something like back to school. That's a big reason why a lot of people start to get hesitant. They get overwhelmed. I'm sending kids back to school. Anybody know that? Anybody feel that? Right? Well, what if you had a guide? What if you had a resource that was walking them through the process and addressing them, right? Um, right? Home buying for busy parents with kids going back to school. And you can even get more specific. And don't worry, we'll get better on these titles, but I'm trying to just get your brain to really start thinking, what's the problems? What could delay them? Because that's gold from Nick, right? What could get in the way? All right, let's move to step two. Remember, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. We should have time to answer them. All right, so then the next step is you need to actually generate the content for this very specific target audience, this very specific profile. You got to generate the content. And so the way that you just generate the content is incredibly easy. It's so nice now, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to make me cry. I can't believe how easy it is to do this now. Tears of joy, by the way, and maybe jealousy. I'm still a little bit bitter that I didn't have this. I feel like an old man, just like back in my day, we had to research manually. I had to pull out the yellow pages. So how do we generate content, Nick? Can you kind of just share? I don't know if we grabbed the prompt from you. If we didn't, we need to grab that prompt for you. I think we forgot to grab that and put it in the chat.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I've got one here, so I'll put this one in the chat if you guys want to try it. This one, the first one I'll share, I'll try to give you a couple versions. Is actually set up so that it'll create a Canva guide, basically. So if you like using Canva, this one will be really ideal for you. Then I have a simpler one I'll give you that won't include the Canva setup. So these are pretty long. I think they will paste. Oh, no, that's way too long. Okay, that's not going to paste. Let me see. Let me give you the shorter one first. I'm going to give you a way to do this without a prompt as well, and then we'll come back to this. So let me grab this
Everybody
other
know
one
what a
real quick.
prompt is? When Nick is saying a prompt, are you guys clear on what a prompt is? If you're not, tell us in the chat. It's okay. There is no such thing as like a bad question. I want you to get the most out of this, and it's very easy for us to explain. So if you hear words that just aren't familiar, just make sure you're telling us. Drop it in the chat, and we'll take care of you. We'll make sure you're on the same page.
All right, so I'm going to throw the other one in here. Hopefully this one's not too long, and if it is, I'll split it up.
We can throw it in a Google Doc as well, and if
Yeah,
needed.
let
And
me just chop it. That should work. All right, so there's gonna be two pieces. That's the first piece. Here's the second piece. All
and
right, so
what
there
we'll
you go.
do, guys, is we'll get this in a Google Doc afterwards too, and we'll tag Nick in it and in the Facebook group.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy to share all this later. Now,
Yeah.
one thing I will say, one of the cool things about the latest iterations of AI is that prompts are still very helpful for sure, but you can actually pretty effectively just have the AI ask you questions, right? So I think one of the reasons that we needed prompts, especially, a year or two ago, was that AI is going to take whatever you say and it's typically going to immediately start working on it, right? It's going to say like, all right, this might have been kind of vague, but I'm just going to guess and I'm going to give this person my best guess, right? Well, it's just like an employee, right? If you never teach an employee how to do things the right way, if you aren't specific with them about the outcomes you're looking for, you're not going to get what you want out of them, right? So it's the same thing. So what you can do nowadays, what AI has gotten a lot better at, is just explain your intent and then ask it to ask you questions until it understands enough about what you're doing that it can then go do it effectively, right? So, for example, like the way I got these prompts is by just doing that with ChatGPT, right? So I'm just talking to ChatGPT and saying, look, I want to create a guide. I don't even know. You could even say I'm not quite sure who it's for yet. So I want
Mm-hmm.
you to ask me questions about who I like to work with until you can help me better define my ideal customer, and it'll do that. And then I want you to work with me to create a guide. Now, think about what I'm saying though, right? I'm saying I want you to work with me. I want you to ask me questions. I'm not saying I want you to go do this thing. Because if I say go do this, it's going to just guess and you're not going to get something good. If I
Hmm.
say, hey, ask me questions, interact with me, engage with me, then it will. It's going to go through and it's going to come up with the same kind of questions you see in the prompt, right? So the prompt is the shortcut. You just take what I gave you, you fill it in, and you submit that to a ChatGPT or a Claude or any kind of other AI system you like using. But you can absolutely just sort of talk to the AI and it will get you there as well, right? And then there's third-party tools and there's all kinds of stuff. Like I'm actually in the middle. It's not quite ready yet, so I'll let you know if you want to hop on my email list later. But I am building a tool that you'll just sort of input some boxes and it will output a finished PDF lead magnet for you. You don't have to worry
There we
about the
go.
design element. So that's where things are heading, obviously. But let me answer some quick questions here. I see, is this the paid version? You don't need a paid version. Obviously, with ChatGPT or Claude or any of these platforms, the paid version is going to give you more back and forth, more refinement options. You're not going to get blocked out. You're not going to get limited on your rate nearly as fast. But the free version will work, right? And that's another reason that it's so valuable to have a good prompt when you start, is that with a really good prompt, you can have one input, one time, right? You're not having a back and forth and lots of refinement. You just sort of give it all the details it needs and it gives you something finished. And if you're using a free AI, that's really helpful because the back and forths are what
What
hit
cost?
your limits, right? Like
Yeah.
if you do too many back and forth with too many chats, you'll run out and it'll freeze. Hey, you gotta wait till tomorrow, that kind of stuff, right? But free version should work. Yeah, and then so I see Cynthia mentioning that ChatGPT 5 has not really been doing what it's supposed to. It's been an issue. That rollout was obviously very, very poor, very mishandled. It's getting better. So I feel like in the past 24 hours or so, it has been a lot more reliable. But if
Yeah.
you're not getting what you want out of an AI, switch to a different AI. Like I jump between them like constantly, right? So you've got Grok, you've got Claude, you've got Gemini, you've got obviously there's Chinese companies that are putting out really good AIs as well. Obviously there's some trust issues there, so take that the way you want, but there's a bunch of them, and so if you get stuck, just switch quickly because otherwise you can get bogged down really trying to get it to work and then get rate limited and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Grok, Grok. That's XAI. It's Elon Musk's company. It's a little, it's a good AI too. It's a little bit different. Obviously, Elon's got a
Each one
different
serves their own
approach.
purpose. And just remember, guys, like the important part is that you just get to work. Um,
Yeah.
Honestly, between GPT and Claude, if I want most user-friendly and easiest to switch between, I'd argue that GPT, ChatGPT, and Claude are probably two of the easiest for you to go back and forth between. So if you're struggling with GPT or you're struggling with Claude, just jump over to the other. I mean, if you have Copilot, I'll be honest, I don't know enough about Copilot to be a great resource there. Um, so, I can't tell you where it measures up. So this personal preference, right? So again, what Nick's saying, right, with these prompts is you can use big long prompts if you have a clear direction and an outline, but it's okay if you don't. And before that was not something you really could say. You did need to have the prompt, or else it would just be so off the rails, and it would take so much time to get it back on track. And then here's the other thing. By the time you got it back on track, there was too much conflicting information and it would keep going off track again, right? And so now I use ChatGPT every day, hours a day, in multiple ways. It is getting better. They just had a rough rollout. It's going to happen, but they've already improved immensely. They're one of the fastest for making improvements too. They are so fast about it. Just talk to it. If you were here last week when I told you to use ChatGPT voice as your role play partner, and I told you just talk to it, same thing. Just talk to it. Literally use your actual voice if you have to. If you can't really type the way or you can't articulate it in typing the way you want to, just turn on voice mode and say, Nick, you can call it Nick. You can call it anything you want. Pretend it's Nick you're talking to, right? Nick, this is what I'm trying to do. This is where I'm at. Ask me some questions. Let's have some dialogue. Let's talk about it. Help me figure this out. and it will. And it'll do a good job as long as you just keep being intentional with where you're trying to go. Does that make sense? You guys clear on that? Give me some thumbs ups if you're doing okay. I know this is a lot of information where but it's not as complicated as it sounds. We're trying to get you out of your head and just into we're trying to get you out of your head and into AI. Okay? Where it'll figure itself out, I promise you. All right, Nick. So you said get in. You might have a tool coming up, but no timeline on that, so we'll be patient. We won't hold out for that until it just comes out, and then we'll be your first beta testers. Maybe we'll bring you back when it's ready, and
Nice. Yeah.
we'll do
Yeah,
some
yeah,
fun
sounds good. I
stuff.
mean, right. And I think, like you're saying, really like I think this is a universal race that we're kind of all in. And the people that learn to implement, not just use AI, not just talk to it, but like use it as an effective tool. I think some people are kind of using it as like a friend, and it's, go that route if you want to, I guess. But it's really a tool, right? It's like it can do all these incredible things for us. And I see too many people that are like, well, but I got stuck or I don't know what to do next. And I'm like, you just talk to it. You know what I mean? Like it has all the answers. Like it understands itself. It understands other AIs. It understands other tools. Like it kind of knows almost, theoretically everything. You just got to keep talking to it, right? So I think if you can learn to do that and treat it like a tool and treat it like something that you can use from a creative perspective, you will win, right? Because like that's the race we're currently in. And I think when you talk about people using AI, who knows how to use it, you're going to get replaced by somebody who does your job and knows how to use AI. That's what we're talking about, right? As people that can create, not just crank out content that replaces you, but to create content that's that much more catered to your perfect customer, that feels
Hmm.
more, like it was made just for them. Like those kinds
Let's do
of
that example.
decisions.
Actually, I love that you just said
Yeah.
that. Okay, guys. So picture this scenario. All of you in this room are going after the same lead, and everybody is coming at generic. Let's use an example. I'm going after Nick, right? So I'll pretend Nick is the target because he said earlier he's got kids, young kids. Now, if Nick is in whatever resource and way you're sending it, whether it's through a DM, social media, it doesn't matter. And Nick sees everybody going, I'll help first time homebuyers. We're just going to pretend Nick's a first time homebuyer. I'll help first time homebuyers. Okay. He's seeing everyone say that. But how about first time homebuyers with kids under the age of 5? Now, who does Nick more likely identify with? It's not that you did anything wrong with saying first time homebuyers, it's that you stopped short. You were going down the right path. Every agent works with first time homebuyers, even the ones who said they don't. So that's not a standing out point. So Nick doesn't know that you specifically get him because remember, all agents say they work with first time homebuyers. But the moment I said under the age of 5, during busy holiday season, with back to school, things that Nick said, ooh, I identify with that problem. I identify with that stress. I identify with that delay. Who do you think he is going to trust more? It doesn't even matter if I'm the better agent or not. It doesn't because Nick hasn't learned that. All he's learned initially is just that I get him. Doesn't mean I'm a better agent. So maybe Carly is a way better agent than me. Maybe she's significantly better. She's smarter. She works harder. She does better CMAs, better work all around. But if Nick doesn't know that those things are delivered to him in a way that makes sense, apply to his problems, but I say it, he's going to pick me, even if Carly's the better agent. That's what's crazy, guys. So it's not even that you might be replaced by a better agent. No, they might not be a better agent. They may be a crappy agent who just can articulate and connect with people a little bit better than you. We're trying to give you that edge. Okay. We're trying to give you that edge. All right, let's move on to step 3. Um, there we go. Step 3. So now we're getting into the design and brand it side of things. Okay. And again, it's so easy now. Okay. Nick, can you just share a little bit about they've generated the content on AI, right? They've got the prompt from you, or they've learned now to just talk to AI. This is what I want to do. Now, how do they put it in on paper, if you will?
Yeah, so I think, well, there's two things I'll mention here. The first is one I would imagine most of you are familiar with, which is Canva, right? And everybody loves Canva. I've been a fan of Canva almost since it first came out. Love the company, the story behind it, the CEO, everything's amazing.
Yeah, I
Use
agree.
it. It's that simple, right? I mean, it's just like what one of the things that I did in this prompt, and I'll provide the other prompt in the document we'll send to everybody after this, is the more complex prompt will actually break up the content into basically a format you can copy and paste into Canva. Now you're going to copy one piece at a time, right? Because we know how Canva works, different pages, you got text boxes, and you just sort of copy it in. And we can show that if we want to, if we have a minute here. But that is the simplest way to do it. Now, what I want to really emphasize there is the first time through, you just get it done, right? Like if you don't have a default Canva template that you have set up with your brand colors and everything else, like you just go in, you literally go to the template section, you search for the word guide, if that's what you're making. If you made a checklist, search for checklist. They've got literally thousands of templates for every single category, okay? Just pick one of the first few, okay? Like I know it's gonna be tempting to like sit there and scroll, and this is where we can get bogged down. Just pick one, roll with it, copy everything in, and you're ready, okay? Now later, if you want, you can go through and you can actually have your own template, right? So you can take one, change the colors, get it all kind of really branded the way you want, and then reuse that, right? So now you're creating new content every time. You're just literally copying and pasting it over. The second thing I'll mention, and this is where it gets really exciting, is at least Claude now has an integration with Canva where
Mm-hmm.
it will attempt to make a template for you. It'll create one for you and it'll start to copy and paste your stuff into it. I say attempt because it came out like a week or two ago. It's brand new. It does not work all the time. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've used it. It's cool. It's very exciting, kind of where these things are headed. But it doesn't work consistently, so that's why I didn't start there. So I think right now we're still working with Canva templates. I think that's probably the easiest way to do this. And once you've set one up and you have your logo in it and your colors and some pictures you like and all that, I think copying and pasting this stuff takes just a few minutes, right? So you literally go. I mean, that's why we're saying you can do this in 10 minutes because once you have that master prompt and you put it in, and you describe a customer, you can leave all that information in there and just change the zip code. The next time you copy the prompt in, it's a different zip code, but everything else is the same, right? That takes 30 seconds, okay? Then you get the output, you copy that into your existing template, you change the name of it, that takes 5 minutes, and you've got a completely new guide. And I think the whole point here is to create a series, right? To create a bunch of these types of content, either addressing different problems for the same kind of customer, or you can vary the customer. So I think a lot of folks have always told me, like, I'm worried about getting pigeonholed, right? I don't want to be known as like the person that only works with people with kids under 5. Well, then make a guide for people with kids between 5 and 10, and make another one for people with teenagers, and make another one. You know what I mean? That way, you're still giving people something that's very customized to them and their situation, so it cuts through the noise. But you don't have to feel pigeonholed, right? And I think we're going to see that in the next 12 to 18 months. You're going to see a lot of agents who almost have like a library of these guides, and then
Mm-hmm.
additionally, that makes it easy just to have lots of stuff to talk about, right? Because you've got so many useful pieces of information and tools to share with people. But Canva's great. Start there. Claude is kind of a next step to experiment with, and just once you have a template, reuse it.
Love it. Love it. All right, we're gonna get into a breakout room in just a second, but let me just go over three quick common mistakes that Nick shared with me. Um, one of them was just using generic topics. I feel like we've stressed that point enough now. Is everybody clear on that? To tailor the content to a specific niche, an audience, a location, and don't be afraid. Because here's the beautiful part. Okay. Let's say I get too specific. Let's just say I do it. There's just too specific. Okay. Let's just say I do it. I'll just make another guide or I'll just slightly tweak it. That's it. You can literally go back to the AI chat and go, okay, that was really good. I tested it out. It didn't really work very well. It was too specific. It didn't reach enough people. Let's dial it back slightly. That's how easy it is. And it'll just dial it back for you. Okay. Skipping the branding step in Canva. I mean, you got to add your headshot, your logo, a little local personality. Remember, we're not generic, but generic doesn't mean that every word has to be from Webster's 1828 dictionary. It just means that there needs to be key indicators, little milestones, if you will, right? That show that you have thought about this and made it relevant, whether that was local, whether, right? So just don't skip that step. And then just not using the lead magnet. Just not using it. There are lots of agents who will go and they'll have lots of fun playing around in Canva. They'll have lots of fun playing around in ChatGPT. No, you have a goal. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, when you jump on, you should be making a guide. And then you should be taking that guide and getting it to the target audience as quickly as possible. And when I made my first guide, and it's a generic guide, by the way, because I didn't know any better, I made sure I told everybody about it. And then it became a process. I made sure that everybody got a guide. It sealed the deal so many times. It built trust. And then I had also, this was an unexpected result, by the way. I had people going, hey, by the way, is it okay if I share your guide with my friend who related to what the guide was
Mm.
talking about? Okay. All right. And so, just quick, the expected results is if you share your lead magnet with, let's say, 100 people, social media, emails, DMs, this is not hard to do in this day and age. You should get around 10 to 20 downloads, right? And by downloads, that means just that they're opening the guide. You know, if you share a link, there's different questions and not questions, methods on how you share, lots of different ways. That should spark about 3 to 5 new conversations, and that should generate you a pretty solid lead, one solid lead. And that's from 10 minutes of work, guys. Okay. Anybody ever look up on cold calling how many dials you typically need to make? It's a lot. It's a lot. So when you see this, I know the tendency might be, well, I want one closing from this. Listen, we can't promise you a closing. Nobody can. Be careful of anybody who says they can. What we can tell you is that this builds trust. This makes people feel seen and heard. It establishes you as a person who gets them at a level other agents don't. And that produces solid leads. All right, let's get into a breakout room real quick because I want you guys to work on this. I want you now to go work on choosing your target audience. Who are they? Right? Get as specific as you can. And while you're doing this, try and write down 5 problems that that person may have. Right? So you go military veterans. Now go military veterans that are living in a certain area or want to accomplish a certain thing or running into a certain problem. Right? And then I want you to add some additional problems or, as Nick said, delays that they might be facing because it is different. Okay? Drop yes in the chat if you want to go work on this with a partner real quick. This should be easy. This should be a way to kickstart for you. All right. And I'm going to start assigning rooms real quick. Again, type that yes because I have to do this manually. The pre-signing doesn't work that great. All right, so I'm just going to go in order of yeses. Don't shy away from this, guys. This is a great activity. You're going to walk away with something super useful. All right, so we got Cynthia and Kathleen. There we go. Next, we got Sunny. And there he is. And Kristen. There we go. Anybody else want to jump into a room real quick? Oh, we got Carly and Tamasha. Is that right? Am I saying that right? Carly, Tamasha. All right, we got Glory who wants to. We need a partner for Glory. Who's going to jump in with Glory? Let's go. Counting down. If not Glory, I'll throw you into another group. 3, 2, 1. All right, Glory, I'm going to throw you in with Sunny. I got to put you in a room by yourself, and then I'm going to transfer you. All right, guys, you're going to receive invites now. Boom. There we go. Everybody else can hang out with us while I ask Nick some more detailed questions. It's kind of about the process. Have fun, guys. We'll see you in a few minutes. All right. So, Nick, a couple questions for you that as we're going through this process
Hmm.
and kind of figuring it out, is what are some of the, hold on, let me pin you and I'm gonna pin me so it's easier.
Sure.
What are some of the big breakthroughs? That's a cliche word, but like the big results, the unexpected things that you've seen agents experience as they start to just get specific like this. Like, does that make sense? Does that question make sense?
Sure. Yeah. Well, one that's I think overlooked a lot is just they enjoy their business that much more. I think that, it's so tempting to talk about getting more customers, making more money. That's all obviously important and appealing. But there's also a certain element to like, do you wake up every day and you're excited and you look forward to what you're doing and the people you're working with? And the more clear you get with your marketing message, the better that fit becomes. And I
Mm,
think that's something that it unlocks so much else in your business and life, right? So when you're working with more of the right people and they like you that much more, right? They're that much more excited to work with you. They're going to refer you more. They're going to be more enthusiastic when they write their reviews for you, right? Like all those things just
mm,
start to kind of work that much better. And there's also a certain element of just acknowledging and accepting that you're not the right fit for some people. And I think
like
until
a
you're
liberating moment almost.
right, and you kind of see like, okay, this person saw that I put out these guides about working with parents, for example, and they don't have kids, and they ended up working with a different agent. Well, that's good because that agent specializes in working with, younger, first-time single buyers, whatever it is, and they had a better experience, right? And so, acknowledging that like there's thousands of customers in your market, you're not going to work with all of them and just accepting that if you do a better job of finding the right ones, it's gonna be easier. You're gonna spend less time looking for them. They're gonna come to you more automatically. It's more of a sort of magnetic experience where they come to you instead of you chasing them. So I'm listing like five or six different sort of ahas or benefits there, but it is tempting initially to try to stay broad, right? You were talking about that earlier, and I think that's where until you try it, until you make stuff and you start talking to that really narrow audience, you just don't know how good it can be. And I think too, like that's all the positives. We're getting forced there now, right? So like especially
Mm.
because of AI, because of video, because
I
of
was
all
just
this
gonna
sort of.
say that is I think that we're
Mhm.
seeing the shift of now it's not just, oh, that's cool that someone can do this. It's why are you not doing this now?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, let's put it this way. If someone had a car when they first came out, it was a novelty. Oh, look at that. It's a car. That's cool. That's interesting. Then there were a few more cars. Oh, okay. Look at that. People are kind of liking cars more. I'm seeing more of them. Now imagine you only have a horse. People are going to look at you. And here's what actually will subconsciously happen is that people will still trust people with a horse. Okay. It's true. But there will be something in the back of their head that says, is there something going on here that I need to know about? Is there something off about you? Because everyone else is driving a car. And unless you can give me a really, really good reason why you have a horse, I'm going to think there's something off about you. I'm going to think there's something wrong about you. That's just the truth. Part of the way that we subconsciously make judgments about people is comparative value. How do they compare to their peers? How do they compare to society? How do they compare to what the baseline is? And so I definitely think, right? I definitely think that we're getting to this place to where if you are not able to use what would be, how do we put it? You know what I mean? Like the result of what someone using AI is. It doesn't mean you have to use AI, but if you can't produce the results of what you would expect someone with AI to do, right? You have a
Yep.
problem. You have a
Yeah,
problem.
I mean
And
that's
people are going to be wondering there. And you know what's so crazy is that there will be a subconscious thing there that goes, but why? Something's missing here. especially with you and I going out there and teaching agents for free. The
Right.
excuse of I don't, the fact that every AI usually has a free version, and that free version you can do incredible things with, absolutely incredible things with. I'm always blown away by how much you can do for free with ChatGPT. Like, what the heck?
Right.
Like, that's insane. Honestly, for the average person, free version is pretty freaking good,
Hmm.
right? So, I mean, I agree with you. I think, that we are going to this place where people are just going to feel, even if they can't pinpoint it, they're going to feel like something's missing.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
There's,
and I think
yeah.
it's, it's fairly obvious. I mean, what I think one of the main takeaways I give you when it comes to just AI in general is like a lot of businesses, a lot of agents, a lot of businesses in general have seen AI and they've thought to themselves, how do I use this to have to do less work, right?
Mm,
We've always thought that. Anytime there's a new tool, kind of the first thought is like, all right, how can this take over some of my work so I don't have to do as much work? Totally normal. You should absolutely ask that question, right? That's a good thing. But I think a lot of businesses have stopped there, right? So like what that means is that they've used AI to essentially replace themselves on some level. So like, all their social media posts are written by AI, their emails are written by AI, all that.
yeah,
Fine, right? If we're gonna go that way, fine. I'm not a big fan of especially the social media posts. Like if it's you, I want to be hearing your thoughts, not some computer's thoughts, but like that's what people are doing, right? On the flip side, you can do those things, but if you look at AI as okay, now I can do more for people, right? Like this can multiply my impact. It can allow me to for what we're talking about today, make stuff that's more catered to more specific individuals, which is inherently more useful, right? Like a guide for me in the situation I'm actually in is way more useful than a generic guide for any theoretical situation, right? So like that is
yeah,
better. And I think if you can think that way and think less about where do I save myself time and money and more about where can I multiply that impact, where can I help more
exactly.
people, that's the businesses that are going to win. So that's a little misleading when we talk about like the businesses that use AI are going to beat the ones that don't. Sure, but it's going to be from
I
this
think
perspective.
yeah, I think we need to like explain that more. It's like, it's not an agent who just randomly plays around on ChatGPT is not going to beat anybody, right? But an agent who doesn't look at ChatGPT or AI in general and go, how do I do less work? But instead, their motive should be, how do I do better work?
Hmm.
How do I
Right.
do better work? And I know this sucks, guys. I'm going to tell you something that society has lied to you about your whole life. Your goal in life should never be how little can I do. There's so much just on a physical longevity perspective. The longer you work, and when I say work, I'm not saying slave hours in a factory. What I'm saying is being productive with your mind, seeking the best in whatever you do. That will literally extend your life expectancy by years. And that applies to business. You should be looking at AI and saying, how do I do more or at the very least, better work? Better work. Not less work, better work. Better. All right. So the growth opportunity for you guys this week is now you've well, first of all, tell me how it went. Anybody get some target audiences? If you did, drop them in the chat. How did that go? I actually would love to hear that. Just jumping ahead. I want to hear. Drop in the chat like the target audience. Get specific with me. Tell me what you came up with. Right? Ooh, I like this. So Cynthia and Kathleen, they were targeting probate or death, and they were looking at those problems. Die without a will. Ooh, powerful. May need to ask others for approval. Yep. Oh, man. I mean, probate sucks. I mean, death really does suck, right? But the legal side of death is a nightmare, and none of us are prepared for it. Like, it just always comes with unforeseen problems, right? Maybe one child doesn't want to sell. Powerful. You guys, you see what you're doing here? I'm resonating with these. I'm feeling empowered. I'm looking at you going like, yeah, these guys got it. I feel this, right? This is awesome. So Christine, you said downsizing long-time owners. So you're going to want to get more specific. Remember, talk to Chat GPT. It'll help you. You're going to want to get even more specific than that, right? Where? What's their background, right? Long-time owners. That's not a problem. It's not a problem. What problem are you solving? What delays, right? And guess what? You can take exactly what you just put there, downsizing long-time owners, and you can go to ChatGPT and say, help me figure out the most common problems that this demographic is facing, right? There we go. Christine, you said cleaning out the stuff they have. Perfect. Go get in there, get in that conversation going, get more specific, get some more problems. And then what you'll find, guys, is all of these problems can either be one condensed guide, but you might also make mini guides for each of these. How to declutter your house if you're downsizing, right? In this zip code, in this area, even. You could be specific because then you could have partners. I won't even get into that. Partners who pay to be in your guides.
Mhm.
Moving companies, like, don't even get me started, man. I'll go off the rails there. Okay. All right. So then you're going to do this. Now, get to those details, get to those problems, make that guide, and get into Canva and copy and paste. Copy and paste. Okay. Go do it. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if it's not as pretty as you want it to be. Just go do it. Send it to a couple people and just ask for their honest feedback. Nick, listen, I've been working on this guide. Can I be honest with you? I trust you. I know you're going to be honest with me. Can you take a look at this guy and tell me if it brings you any value? Just be real with people. It's okay. You don't have to try and sell them something that you're not confident about. Just be honest. Nick, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. And I know you have kids under 5. I know you've got kids under 5, so your insight is perfect. What do you think? Okay. And by the way, people love to give opinions on stuff. And when you come from a place of humility and you build them up as the perfect person to give advice, which Nick is, if my goal is parents with kids under 5, and that's exactly what he is, he knows he's the perfect person to give feedback on this. Okay. Share it on platforms too. Don't be shy. It's okay. Oh, I don't know the right words or whatever. Ask ChatGPT to help you. It's better than doing nothing. Go get out there and use it and then tweak and refine it as you go. Make it a part of your process and your system. Okay? All right, say it with me real quick, guys, as we wrap it up. Things need to change, and they will because you're going to take action. All right, any last minute questions for Nick? Don't be shy. Drop them in the chat. We'll make a post with the prompts. Don't worry. We're going to make a post inside the Facebook group. We'll tag Nick in it too. It's a great place to share your guides, share your questions, share your successes with us. We love celebrating you. We love being there for you. So, but any last minute questions? And Nick, if you got to go, I know it's 10 now, but I always try to give five
I got a
minutes.
little time if we do have any other questions. I got a few more minutes.
All right, guys, any last minute questions? Hey, Kathleen, thank you. This was actually something I was wanting to do. So perfect timing. Listen,
Good.
Nick and I were just talking about this while you guys were in the breakout room. Do it while it's a want, because eventually, very rapidly, this will become an expectation that all of your clients will have of you. It will. Just
Yeah.
like you expect certain businesses. Could you imagine you walk into a business and they don't take credit cards? What the heck? I mean, I guess I could go get cash, but to be honest, you're a huge inconvenience now because you don't meet me where I'm at. This is what's happening is AI is showing the consumers how specific everybody can be with them, and if you're not specific at meeting their needs, they're going to feel like, what's wrong with you? Or at the very least, subconsciously, they're going to feel like something's missing. So do it now while you still have a choice and become a leader in this, right? And you will acquire market share. We'll drop Gloria. We'll drop the Facebook group for you link right now. Misa will drop it in the chat for you so you can join. Karen, great info and a plan. Yeah, guys, we try really hard. Next week, Nick, what are we doing next week? What do we say? Oh, it's a video. How to make videos that actually produce leads. And guess what? We're going to be using AI.
Oh yeah.
It's going to make it so much easier. And by the way, the guides you're making will go hand in hand with some of these videos. In fact, you will be using these guides as potential call to action slash lead magnets at the end of these videos. So get pumped. It's all connected. It's all getting better. All right. I don't see any more questions. So we're going to call it here. Facebook link. is in the chat now. Join us in our Facebook group. It's free. Like I said, we'll make a post. We'll tag Nick in it, and we'll take real good care of you guys. With that being said, let's be mindful of our time and get to work. Nick, thank you so much. Appreciate you. I will see you next week, man. It's going to be awesome.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Everybody else, go get to it. I want to see those guides. I want to see those prompts working. I want to see you make mistakes and then ask for help. I just want to see it because I want you to thrive. So I will see you all next week. Okay. Bye.